So now I have some personal suggestions of my own, and some of them, and you're going to hear things that Baruti said, I already said, was on somebody's list. But if you hear things repeatedly, probably those things are very important. But my general advice in choosing compliments, because we have young people in the class, first and foremost, of course, the person should be African and beyond just genetically. Spiritually, and their heart should be, if you're African-centered, however you would describe yourself, that should be who you're looking for. Someone who's intelligent, that doesn't mean that this person has to be an honor student. It means somebody who is able to think critically, okay? Someone who's strong, courageous, hardworking, family-oriented, spiritual, respectful, disciplined, financially, sexually, okay, because a person without discipline, you have a problem on your hand. And someone who's mature. Characteristics I think you should avoid: someone who's controlling, disrespectful, abusive, whether that's verbal, emotional, and definitely we know physical. A person who is whorish, okay. The young people know whore-ish, okay. Lazy, financially irresponsible. Madassa, sweetie. All of those would be characteristics to try to avoid. Now, some of my general advice. Okay, keep a marriage gratitude journal. And it doesn't, if you're not married, you can, don't wait until you get married to keep a journal for any your relationship. This journal comes in handy, especially during hard times, because when you're angry or there's a problem, that's where your focus is. You can totally forget all of the wonderful things about this person. Do keep a journal, write in it regularly, and read it regularly, especially when you're annoyed with your compliment. Okay. Always seek spiritual guidance. That's my general recommendation for any major steps that you take in life. Learn patience. You've heard that before. But at the same time, we have to balance that. So we can be patient on the one hand, but don't allow problems to get worse, totally out of hand. Okay, choose your battles carefully, because there will be many. Depending on your personality types, they can be daily. So don't expect a 50-50 relationship. First of all, it's impossible to measure. Is each person given 50%? But that's not real life. So make sure each person is doing his or her part. And at different times, those numbers are going to change. It shouldn't be 90-10 or 80-20 unless, someone is saying. There'll be times when it might have to be you doing most of it because of this person can't, health reasons. I was actually, when my mother was transitioning, 2 months away from home, with the exception of, I did come home because she was getting out, but she went back and I had to go back. So he had to handle everything, but that's what you do. I've learned never speak in anger. That's general for all of your relationships, because once the words come out of your mouth, even if you immediately apologize, they're out, and you can't, the other person can't unhear what was already heard. Okay, so, that's what we have all these proverbs that tell us to be mindful of what we say. Don't go to bed angry. You may have heard that. And I tell you, generally I don't do that. I did that one night, and thankfully it was years ago, but, I had horrible, horrible nightmares. So my spirit did not like me going to bed angry. But it's not good for your health, your relationship. Be very selective, and I have this in all caps, with whom you discuss your relationship with. Do not discuss your relationship with people who have loose lips, which sink ships. Okay. So, and even, people who love you who may not have loose lips. For example, if you have family members or friends who have not been in long-term relationships, they're really not the ideal person to go to, just because of their lack of experience. Not that they would try to, give you bad advice. And then especially if you know, and we know the reality is just because we choose someone or we love them doesn't mean that our family does. And even if they're smiling, we know our family members. So let's be for real. If they don't love him or her as much as you do, depending on what the case is. In my family, I know my family. I never said anything negative about Baruti because I know in-laws, you know, they're nice to them, but you are still an in-law. You're still not family. So we have to be mindful of who we discuss our problems with. Sisters do know we're more willing to share our problems than our male compliments. Don't put their business. You know, a good way to cause problems, you're telling someone something that he doesn't want told. Now, however, that doesn't mean that you have to suffer in silence. That means you're being very selective. Men have feelings too. You know, they hard, and you think, you know, you're so hard. You think you can just say anything, but no. In fact, our Facebook has some merits. We know it's used for a lot of evil, but I read, women are more emotional, men are more sensitive. And I was like, I think that's true. I had never thought of it in those terms. Be a complete individual. You know, it's frightening. We know that your compliment helps to complete you, but if you feel that you are incomplete without this person, you might do very bad things to keep this person. You know, I can't live without, that's no. Yes, you can. You did before. You can, you know. I would definitely, I hope and pray Baruti and I stay together forever to, you know, we're 100 years old. But I know, and he knows, we lived, you know, 20 plus years before we even met. You know, that you can't live without someone. However, you want, but not that you can't live without someone. That's dangerous thinking. And I think really many of the, in most cases, have been men who've gone off. If I can't have you, nobody else can. That's very frightening. Stay. And Elmore said that to the brothers. I say that to the sisters and brothers. Except there are, I definitely believe in divorce. That I think it is not what we want, but if you are being physically abused, definitely. If someone is, these are my reasons for divorce. If someone is habitually unfaithful. Now, I wouldn't say people are human and they can make mistakes. And I know if somebody does that, it may take them a long time, if ever, to rebuild your trust. But I have heard of couples who have survived infidelity. But somebody who's habitually, that's somebody who's not respecting you and your marriage, and not acceptable. Total lack of doing spousal duties, and that would include sex. So I've heard women, you know, they're mad. So if you're refusing sex, so you're essentially giving him permission, so that's destroying the marriage. If he will not financially support in any way, and there could be times, you know, in some relationships, she works. If she can bring in a better income and she prefers working, he stay, but you home, that means you're taking care of the children. Hey, that works too. But, and total refusal to be a parent to the children, but with those exceptions, and there may be others that I'm, you know, not thinking about. If you a sexual pervert and that's not you, for me, that's grounds too. But other than major reasons like that, and this list is probably not comprehensive, stay, work it out. It's difficult, so life is difficult. Communicate, we all know that. People cannot read your mind, and even if they could, that's not their responsibility. Write letters, suggest that you need to vent rather than cursing out your mate when you're angry. If you curse or however you want to be mean, do it on paper, get it out your system. Then if you're ready to talk, or write down what you need to say in loving language. Okay. Oh, this is very important. Leave exes in the past. All the way in the past. Exception. If your mate has children by this person. Well, that person is. You have to deal with that person. And everybody needs to be respectful in that regard. But if he or she does not have children, they have no place, no friends. If they were so wonderful, why didn't you marry them? So you broke it off, or he broke it off, whoever broke it off, you found somebody else, leave that in the past. Avoid close relationships with the opposite sex. Do not tempt yourselves. Learn to say no. That's with your other relationships as well. People become resentful when nobody's making you say yes when you're asked. If you don't want to do something, say no. Love and be concerned about others, but make your family first priority. And that's something I still have to work on, because I am concerned about the community and the family, and it's hard to juggle all that concern. But our family, our immediate family, should be our first priority. Now, on the other hand, don't abandon your friends and family. You know, people get married and they don't have time for anybody else, at least initially. Follow ma'at. We know truth, justice, righteousness, balance, harmony, order, and reciprocity. If we do that, problem is solved. Embrace your new family. You know, all of the stereotypes on TV, people hating their in-laws. These people, first of all, they help to create this person that you so love. They will also be the grandparents, aunts, uncles of your children. So just from purely selfish reasons, you don't need to have beef with your in-laws. And in fact, they can be major allies when you have the type of relationship that you should. Stand up for yourself. Be a strong woman, a man. That's everybody. Nobody likes a wimpy person, someone without backbone. Have your personal money. This is something I've always wanted, but we never could afford it. All of our money goes to pay bills. But that's something I've dreamed of. Wouldn't that be nice? I could do my own thing. But for some people, you can't do that. So, you know, of course, you fairly pay the bills together if you have. Because a lot of problems people have are financial. In fact, that's the #1 cause of divorce. And that shocked me the first time I heard finances. You know, you'd think it'd be finances. Okay, be willing to accept blame and apologize. That's something Elmore said. Whichever list that was on, that's true for all of us. Don't take each other for granted. And whenever you feel that marriage is so hard, and it is, but look around, look at your single friends. I have single friends, and I won't say that they're miserable, but I don't want to, I see their challenges. So even though it's hard being married, well, it's hard being single. So it's going to, you'll be challenged whatever state you're in. My mother used to always quote, she quoted the scripture, "In the state thou art in, be thou content." So single people want to be married, married people want to be single. Okay. Oh, this is very, very, very important. Schedule couple time. In this society, there's always, especially with nation builders, we always have so much to do. It's always this crisis, this is going on, you need it here, you need it there. If you don't schedule it, you will find out, you can look around, oh, we don't get to spend any time together. And with that schedule, even if you have to break the schedule because it is something urgent, automatically reschedule. Plan your family before you get married, and that was an issue. We did not do that, and that became an issue. You need to be in agreement. How many children, how you want to space these children, because people actually have very different ideas of how this is going to be. How do you raise the children? How do you discipline? Because that can ruin a marriage if one parent is totally no discipline whatsoever, and the other parent is extremely strict. You're going to have a conflict, which leads up to learn from other people's mistakes. So that was my mistake. That was me delaying children, trying to get some year-old degree. That was before I had my African mind. But you don't have to repeat all these mistakes if the elders, and in fact, I definitely remember more than one person. All right, when are you going to have the second one? You know, so I was being encouraged, but I was not Hate me to not listen to my elders. Like, okay, but it wasn't, I'm not going to do it. It's like, I'll do it later. I got to do this right now. But listen to your elders. Learn from other people's mistakes. Okay, of course you should commit early in the marriage, but once you have children, double your commitment. You have even more reason to stay together, because I'd much rather see a couple without children separate than a couple with children, because the impact that's going to have on the children. Okay, be a part of an African community. And all of us here, we're fortunate we have a community to be a part of. But for people who may see the DVD, if you don't have a community, you need to build one. Your child will need a village. You know, it does indeed take a village. Healing. A major issue Black people have, African people have in general, and definitely working on your healing, each of you, will be helpful to your family. Your children will benefit from that. Certain things you won't have to pass on to them, but our people in general. So working on yourself and being healing, all of that goes hand in hand. Note that your complement is someone generally who's different from you, because they have strengths in areas that you're weak. Now, on the one hand, it's such a beautiful thing. You're here, he's there, and you just work together and find this middle ground. However, that doesn't feel fun. It sounds so good on paper, and it's a beautiful thing, but it doesn't feel beautiful when you too patient, your husband is less patient, and you have to find the middle ground. So neither one of you is happy because you're both being forced to move. But it's a good thing. But just FYI, finding your complement is desirable, but doesn't mean that it won't be painful as you challenge each other to find a balanced, more balanced reality. If your mate is impatient, on the one hand, that's a problem. But there are advantages to that. So in situations that need to be handled right then and there, the person who's too patient is not the one. He or she needs to step to the side, because you can allow things to linger. And I had to learn that, because I was one of those people. These are virtues, these are flaws, and even your virtues are problematic when they're not balanced. So being too patient is a problem in that you allow things to worsen. Oh, and this is something Elmore said as well, but I didn't mention. Don't start something you can't or won't keep up. So you bring in flowers every week, she's going to be accustomed to those flowers every week. So you stop bringing flowers. That doesn't mean you can't bring flowers, but, you know, don't make a habit that you can't or won't continue. Etiquette, which, you know, I think etiquette is being lost in this society in general. But always, every morning, greetings. Entrik Maha, Bibi Fahodie, Medawo, I love you. You know, when you wake up, when you go to bed, when you leave, saying Madasi, Asante Sana, thank you. Okay, we can forget, we take the people, we treat other people. If you would do it for someone else, do it for your spouse. Those things, yes, that you would say. Okay, be sweetly honest. Okay, not brutally honest. If you have to complain about something, you need to point something out, you can say it sweetly. Okay, and it makes a difference, as the saying goes. It's not always what you say, but sometimes it's how you say it. Okay, give compliments regularly. Elmore said that. Embrace humor. And this is so nice. I actually saw our twin couple friend, and they had a disagreement. They were leaving the house, and one of them made a joke and started laughing, and it was over. I'm like, wow, it does work, huh? I don't think that would work with Baruti, but I don't know. You know, I have seen that firsthand. Humor can make the world of difference. And Black people, you know, we embrace that anyway to survive. Why not? You know, it helped us survive slavery. It might help you survive your marriage too. If you are angry, if necessary, leave the house to cool off. Okay, but not you get angry, I'm going home to mommy and daddy kind of thing. No, you go for a drive. Even I don't care for that, but anyway, if sometimes you need to leave the space to cool off. May the force be with you. Okay, we should only be encouraging of our mates' relationships with their family, regardless of what issues their family members may have. That's their family. So we can allow them, if they need to complain and vent, and even if what they say is true, even if clearly their parents have deep issues, it's not for you to say. You can listen politely, and still, if there's a way that you can encourage reconciliation, it's to your benefit. Because first of all, so he or she has baggage from this bad relationship. It's going to pour over into your family. Okay, and that stuff gets passed down from generation to generation. So for selfish reasons, you should do that. Oh, I think this is a good example. We quickly give up on our marriages, but think about, we spend at least 12 years, for those of us who graduate high school, 12. We will not give up on a Euro education. We'll stay for 12 years. Some of us, college. Some of us, grad school, professional school. But we won't make that kind of commitment to a marriage. Military, people sign 4-year contracts. On jobs, people want to stay for 20 years and retire. Isn't a marriage more important than any of those things? Not to say that those things aren't important. So maybe you could think about it like that. And I also wrote down here, so if you stay together for the children, which I think you should, unless you got those things going on that you should leave. Stay together for the children, okay, that's about 18 years. Shoot, you close to a 20-year anniversary. Have a big celebration. We did, so stay till 20. Then you're close to 25. Hey, no party time. Okay. And by that time, your child is grown, or children are grown, and you get to see, oftentimes, you know, they have little time for you. They're off doing them and having their, you might realize, I may or may not be able to depend on this child, but this man or woman has been here for me. We are a family, so you know you have an incentive to just hang on in there.